Welcome aboard Tristan and Tommy's Runaway Railway. For your safety, please remain seated and enjoy the show. Welcome to Please Remain Seated, a theme park podcast hosted by two theme park enthusiasts that work for the industry in Orlando, Florida. We got some news coming out of Disneyland. Got a new character, Free Roman, as well as a ride officially retiring. Disney World had some Nazis and a brand new holiday event. We also finally got the next house for Halloween Horror Nights announced, finally, and roller coasters closing at Busch Gardens Tampa. Also got a brand new roller coaster review pipeline out of SeaWorld Orlando, a theme park Karen, a Passholder Karen, I should say. And Tristan's got some Tristery if we have time for that. I'm Tommy. Tristan, how you doing?
Okay, there's one thing, and when you blew through that list there of all
Yeah.
there's one thing that stood out. Do you know what it was, Tommy? Do you know what stood out the most when you said all
Uh,
those things?
was it the roller coaster closing at Busch Gardens Tampa?
Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
Wild Mouse coaster from Busch Gardens.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
We will get
The
to all of
Sand
those
Serpent.
things.
R.I.P.
Sorry for the delay since our last episode, folks. Luckily, Tommy and I decided to record tonight, and then a whole bunch of new stuff came out today, so it ended up
Yeah. So we're
working out
stoked about that.
pretty well.
Oh yeah.
So we talked about this in the Two Useless Organisms episode we just recorded, but I'm currently in my friend's guest house. Right now, his guest room, I should say, in his townhouse. Because I'm in between homes right now. But having said that, I still got my podcast gear here, and we're gonna hit the ground running.
Heck yeah. Let's
So
go, baby.
first things first. The end of an era. Splash Mountain is gone from Disneyland. Was
Yeah.
that the last Splash Mountain? Like, is Splash Mountain now officially gone?
I believe Splash Mountain in this theme is still open at Tokyo Disneyland,
Hmm.
but in terms of the states, yeah, Splash Mountain's pretty much gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to go over to Japan if you want to experience anything similar to what Splash Mountain was here,
Yeah. Yeah.
either in Disneyland or yeah.
Oh, crazy. But yeah, no, the end of an era. I know Florida's Splash Mountain closed quite a while ago. Disneyland's now, and Tony Baxter, famous Imagineer Tony Baxter. I don't believe he came to ours for its closure, but he did go to Disneyland's and he got some Splash Mountain water and put them in some jugs. Which I
Oh wow.
want to know if some Splash Mountain cast member didn't know who it was and actually had the gall to yell at Tony Baxter getting Splash Mountain water.
I would. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me, but also it is Disneyland, and I feel like their managers and cords would have like gone around like warning everybody, "Hey guys, Tony Baxter's here. Like, do your
Yeah.
job."
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Yeah.
But I was never the biggest Splash Mountain fan from a ride perspective. I thought it was fun. Thematically, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was actually one of the better themed rides. But I don't like getting wet, so I was never really a big Splash Mountain
Yeah,
guy. I've only been to
that's
Disneyland once, and
yeah.
I did not ride their Splash Mountain. So
Yeah. I think I may have done their Splash Mountain as a kid, but I don't remember it. I unfortunately did not do it in my 2019 trip. Splash Mountain in general, I've always been a fan of. It's been one of my favorite rides at the Magic Kingdom here. Although I'm not too upset about it closing, I definitely understand why. And as long as they do as good with the Princess and the Frog theme as they did with the old theme, people are going to be happy with it. Like anyone who's going, rah, they're getting rid of the theming. Like you can't even name a character from the ride. You like it because it's well themed, and as long as it's still well themed with a different theme, you're gonna be happy.
yeah, and here's the other positive side of it is I truly believe that Princess and the Frog is one of the most underrated animated Disney movies, especially recently,
Oh yeah,
relatively speaking. And so the fact that
yeah,
we are finally getting a Princess and the Frog attraction with all the music it's going to have, I think it's going to be really fun. Um,
yeah,
so I'm excited for that.
absolutely.
We just going to sit here in silence all day or what?
Yep.
All right. Well, next, Disney testing the free roaming Groot.
Oh
I guess you
yeah.
could call it an animatronic. I mean, it's similar to that dinosaur thing that we had here in Florida way back in the day. I have no idea. It was a free roaming animatronic. Definitely
Ooh,
cool.
free roaming animatronics. Yeah, for some reason I thought it was like a character free roaming, but okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, if you had done your homework and you weren't all Halloween Horror Nights, Halloween Horror Nights, maybe you'd know.
You
But
know, I've been busy. Okay.
you're over there sniffing your fog candle or whatever the heck you're doing. Yep, there it is. See you in the fog. For our listeners, he's holding up the candle I just referenced. Because it's always within arm's reach of Tommy.
Yep.
But
Literally
yeah,
always.
so that'll be cool. Free roaming Groot goes around and actually talks and everything, and interacts with the people around it. I believe the test is over. So this is in no way something you can go and see, there. It's more of just an indicator of something we might see in the future. But still cool to know we're doing that sort of technological stuff. I mean, even that Spider-Man thing that they have at
Oh
Avengers
my God,
Campus
yeah.
is still beyond my
I haven't seen it
comprehension.
yet in person. I can't wait to.
It just I mean, it's just so cool. So it's cool that they're doing stuff like that, and obviously Guardians of the Galaxy is super hot. So
Oh
um,
yeah.
so that's pretty
Especially
cool.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Oh my God.
That was a good movie,
Incredible.
man. That was a good movie.
Yeah, honestly, the best since Endgame or No Way Home. Definitely since No
Mm,
Way Home.
solid. Yeah, I might
Yeah.
agree. I might agree. Um, but other than that, we'll move over here to Florida. We have two
Where
pieces of
where we
what?
well, yeah, sorry for interrupting. I was gonna be like, Disneyland they get Groot, and then Disney World gets Nazis.
Yes. Good grief. About 15 Nazi protesters were standing outside the Hotel Plaza Boulevard entrance to the Disney World property in Florida, waving Nazi flags and doing whatever they were doing. From the report I read, there was also a sign with Ron DeSantis on it and another
Yeah,
sign that said, Make America Florida. And that could
please
not
don't.
be the furthest thing from what I want.
No, the majority of the U.S. does not want that, thankfully.
No.
Um,
I
uh,
mean, to put it into perspective, Florida is the butthole of America. New Jersey's the
yeah,
armpit of America. And Ohio, I don't know. Ohio is maybe the scalp of America. Not the worst
scalp.
part.
That's generous.
Not yeah. Say it's not the worst part of the body, but it's also not really good for
There's
anything.
hair growing out of it.
Yeah, it's hairy. There's
Yeah,
dandruff in there.
I I'm just like, what are you doing, Nazis?
Yeah, come on. Come on. What are you doing? And it was only
What are you
15 of
doing?
them. So,
Yeah.
but still, just the fact that I mean that is the thing that people had to see one day at a time. There were kids driving in on the bus or the
Yeah.
car that had to see Nazis standing outside of the
At
entrance to
at
do.
Disney World. Like,
What is this?
how
What is
dare
this?
Disney sell rainbow merch?
Yes. Can you believe it? Can you believe that Disney would support people of a certain orientation?
Yeah,
How awful of them.
right. Yeah. Why don't you wave these flags that represented a group of people that killed tens of millions of people instead? Vote DeSantis.
I really hate everything, man. I just hate everything so much right now. But
Me
yeah,
too.
so that was I mean that was really all I had on that was just the fact that that happened. Let
That
us not
happened,
forget that that happened.
and yeah, let's see how much more that happens.
We live in a time where it's very normal for the mainstream political I don't want to say climate, but I don't know, world,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, actually has Nazis involved in it. And people
Yeah.
don't really bat an eye anymore because that's just kind of where we're at.
Yeah. That's yeah, I feel bad for saying it, but like there's a part of me that isn't even like that shocked by it.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, that would happen.
it's just like this stuff happens all the time. I'm waiting
Yeah.
for the day that Ron DeSantis publicly endorses the Westboro Baptist Church. You remember the Westboro Baptist Church, all the stuff they did?
Oh man, I remember those
That's a
people.
very,
Yeah.
very Ron DeSantis thing.
I mean, he hasn't said anything about the Nazis outside of Disney yet, but like if he just goes up at like if he straight up says that he was happy about those people, I would not be surprised.
No, because I
Like
mean, look
it just wouldn't surprise me.
What Donald Trump did with the January 6th people. He
Yeah.
was like, "You guys did great. Go home,
Yeah.
rest, pour yourself
Yeah.
some
I love you
medication.
guys.
Did
Please go
great."
home now. I mean, bro literally has been indicted twice, and he's still the front runner for the Republican nomination in 2024. So,
Yeah, see, yeah, that's kind of why. Like we're at that place where
yeah,
like not Nazis really aren't the most surprising thing.
land of the free. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
And on that jolly note, uh,
that's
new
awesome.
holiday event coming to Disney World this year at Hollywood Studios, Jollywood Nights. So in addition to the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas parties that happen at the Magic Kingdom, Universal's also not Universal, Jesus, Disney's Hollywood
Halloween Horror Nights,
Studios.
Halloween Horror
Yeah, no,
Nights.
yeah, can you tell I'm obsessed with Universal things? Um, yeah, Disney World will have their very first nighttime holiday party, Jollywood Jollywood Nights. It'll be separately ticketed events from 8:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. on 10 select nights from November 11th through December 20th. Let's see here. You'll be welcome to Jollywood Nights with a DJ spinning a mix of holiday tunes. Commissary Lane comes to life with a lively Latin street fair. Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy will be very special guests at the Theater of the Stars, along with some of their Disney friends. And what's this? Hyperion Theater will host a spirited sing-along. More details to come. Encounter the glitz and glamour and galore at two limited capacity entertainment experiences, a jazz lounge at the Hollywood Brown Derby, and an otherworldly soiree at the Hollywood Tower Hotel courtyard. Wrap up the night and enjoy the festive return of Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam.
Yes. So I am very excited for this. This
Yeah,
looks like a heck of a lot of fun, actually.
absolutely.
I have only gathered my appreciation for Hollywood studios during the holidays within recent years. Never really cared for it much. Don't even know if I really paid attention. Um,
Yeah.
but I love what they do with Sunset Boulevard, and they'll be doing that again
Mm,
with the snow and the projections on the Tower of Terror.
yeah.
Um, and I love the Christmas tree that's in the middle of Echo Lake as well. But all of this stuff is really fun. It's going to be a hard ticketed event, like you said. It's going to be
Mm,
like the Mickey's Not So Merry, whatever it is,
yeah.
Christmas party. But I'm really excited for this. It actually made me really excited for the holidays
Yeah.
coming up. The
I'm
DJ is throwing a DJ. I don't care about a DJ. A DJ
yeah.
is. I've
It
been to
fits
the
at Hollywood
parks.
Studios.
Uh,
Like it'll kind of work there, but it would make for a fun vibe, but that's not why I'm going.
Yeah, no, not for me, not for me. But everything else sounds fun. The sing
Yeah.
along in Hyperion, and then they say more details to come about that. I can only imagine that it is some sort of a Frozen holiday sing along because it's in the
Yeah.
Hyperion Theater, which has a permanent stage that is set up to be Frozen. So
Yeah.
unless they tear that all down but no, they're not going to do that. They're going to keep it exactly the
Yeah,
same
no.
because this is only 10 select nights for like a month.
Yeah.
So anything that goes on that stage is going to be Frozen themed. The Muppets thing, that's fun. Okay, I love
Yeah.
anything Muppets is going to be cool. So this is going to be Miss Piggy and Kermit and all that in Theater of the Stars, with other Disney characters coming and going from the show. I'm very excited to see what that's all about. Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah,
Like
and then whatever they're doing in the courtyard for Tower of Terror as well.
yeah. Like I think Hollywood Studios in general has been very underrated in terms of like having honestly arguably the best holiday decorations out of any of the Disney parks. Like I'm not a major Hollywood Studios, like I don't love that park that much at least these days, but like their holiday theming is on point, and having another park with a holiday ticketed event and one that you can drink at because there's alcohol readily available everywhere in that park, so some people will enjoy that.
Yes, absolutely. Good point there. Didn't even think about that. But yeah, so Jollywood. Jollywood Nights. All right, Tommy. I know
Mhm.
you're itching to get into it, so just go ahead.
So, the long-awaited announcement of a house for Universal's Halloween Horror Nights finally happened today. The Last of Us. They are doing The Last of Us. It's going to be based off of the video game that turned 10 years old today, the day that we recorded this. It's been very long rumored. I've heard rumblings from people that work at Universal with Horror Nights that this is what they were going to be doing. And, especially with the HBO show coming out, earlier this year, late last year, like this was going to be a popular choice. And they are doing it based off of the video game. However, like all the merch shows the video game characters and not Daddy Pedro Pascal. Um, but somebody pointed out to me because one of the heavily desired houses for this year would be Stranger Things 4, which hasn't been announced. We don't even know if that's going to be a thing. But it is a heavy rumor. But someone pointed out that if Netflix were to do a house, they would not agree to do a house if there was another house based off of a series, like from a streaming service. Um, but since they're doing the Last of Us video game, that still leaves room for Stranger Things 4. So it's kind of interesting there. Um,
Mm.
but anywho, um, if they actually end up doing that house, I will die. That this year is going to be good. I'm very excited for The Last of Us. I never played the game, but I am aware of how big of a deal it was in the gaming community. But I watched the HBO series, absolutely loved it, loved the world they created. So the house is going to be terrifying. It's going to be cool. I cannot wait for it. And Tristan, I know Tristan's also excited. So
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, cool. Didn't we have something else for Universal, or was that our only Universal
No,
news?
I want to say that was it for Universal.
Oh yeah, that was it for Universal. The other news was that in a few weeks the Sand Serpent is closing at Busch Gardens Tampa. Yeah, and then yeah. It's a wild mouse coaster. I enjoyed it personally, but it won't be missed. Yeah.
What do you any word on what it's closing for?
Nope. I think they're making room for potential future things, but they haven't said what those things will be.
Cool.
That area of the park is kind of dead though. Like, it's in the part of the park that has Falcon's Fury, which isn't even open a lot. It has some downtimes. Does have Scorpion as well, which is another really old roller coaster. It's a really cool, like good roller coaster for its age and surprisingly smooth. I really like, I appreciate it. It kind of it looks like the steel roller coaster model from Roller Coaster Tycoon. Like the steel looping coaster.
Mm.
It it that manufacturer Schwarzkopf. But like hopefully they whatever they end up replacing it with, hopefully they can expand and add something really big over there or something. But anyways, Tristan, got anything else before I go into the review?
No, man, pipeline. Let's jump into it. I'm excited to hear about it.
All right, fantastic. So it's been a while since I've done one of these reviews, and now I'm going to be reviewing the new for 2023 Pipeline the Surf Coaster at SeaWorld Orlando. The Surf Coaster is a brand new launching stand-up model manufactured by Balaguer and Mabillard, otherwise known as B&M. This will be SeaWorld Orlando's seventh roller coaster and its fourth manufactured by B&M, joining the B&M lineup alongside Mako, Manta, and Kraken. In Florida, B&M are also known for SheiKra, Kumba, and Montua Busch Gardens Tampa, as well as the Incredible Hulk coaster and the now defunct Dueling Dragons, later named Dragon Challenge, at Universal's Islands of Adventure. I also love from B&M Fury 325 and Afterburner at Carowinds, Orion Diamondback Banshee from Kings Island, Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure, the Batman clones at the various Six Flags parks, and I can list a whole bunch. B&M is one of my favorite manufacturers. They've made a lot of good roller coasters over the last few decades. Pipeline the Surf Coaster launches to a speed of 60 miles per hour into a bunny hill being a part of the launch. There's LSMs going over the bunny hill before it reaches its highest point of 110 feet tall. Features one corkscrew inversion, just under 3,000 feet of track, with a ride time of just over a minute. And in case you haven't heard me mention on the show before, I don't know if I've had, while I love B&M, I absolutely hate their old stand-up coasters. They are so awful. They are so uncomfortable, and there is a reason that they have not made a stand-up coaster in over 20 years. So the fact that they made one after all this time, there had to be a good reason for it. And after getting a chance to ride it four times, I can confidently say that Pipeline exceeded my expectations and obliterates the old stand-up models. The older models had these like bulky over-the-shoulder restraints that caused a lot of headbanging and like the forceful layouts. Pipeline just has like a vest with bars to grasp onto, and the pull-down restraints themselves, they also don't lock in place. The old stand-up models, like you'd lock your restraint in one place and it'd be like a kind of uncomfortable downstairs. This was not that way, and like you could kind of bounce on it. Um, and there's like this really unique sensation of airtime, like it's standing airtime where you literally fly off the surfboard and you stick the landing and your feet kind of stick to it. It's such a unique sensation on this roller coaster. It's really, really cool, very smooth. I really love it. And also like the roller coaster itself looks graceful. I just mentioned like, your feet grip to the ground like a surfboard. Like the trains do kind of look like surfboards, and the way that it goes through the track, the first time I saw it, like I thought it looked absolutely gorgeous. And then around the area itself, like there's some surf rock music playing. There's very, very light theming. Like let me emphasize very light theming, nowhere near Disney, Universal. Just like it's enough atmosphere for me outside. Um, that like kind of adds to it myself. I really don't have many critiques for the attraction itself. I know some people might not feel like it's not that lengthy, it's only about a minute. But I mean, honestly, I thought that was a perfect ride length. It didn't feel too short to me. Um, because of the restraint system, there could be dispatching issues as well. I didn't experience that though. And granted, I went during pass holder previews, which like there wasn't really much of a line. And I've actually heard recently there hasn't been much of a line. I don't know if the summer crowds have quite hit SeaWorld yet, but supposedly it really hasn't been that busy. The only concern, or just kind of a weird concern that I have, there didn't appear to be that many lockers in the area. When I go to like roller coaster type of parks, I like to rent a locker that I can move to different rides. Because I just feel safer putting my personal belongings in a locker, whether it's required or not. They do have buckets like, and they're like themed to beach coolers in the station, that you can put your items in, but I personally feel safer putting my stuff in a locker. And hopefully I feel like I probably wouldn't run into issues at SeaWorld, especially since I only go when it's dead. But anywho, overall, Pipeline the Surf Coaster is a fantastic addition to SeaWorld. Very cool, very unique ride. Must do in visiting the park. Easily my third or even second favorite in the park, alongside like Mako and Manta. And in my roller coaster rankings, at the moment, I have it ranked 37 out of 143, over 100 spots over the other stand-ups I've been on because I absolutely hate them. I might be overrating it a little bit, but like I don't know, it was just so much fun, and all the other enthusiasts I've seen review it have also said that it's going to be a sleeper hit this year. I really hope that B&M can continue to work off of this prototype and build similar surf coasters elsewhere. I don't really know what else they can do, like theming wise, if it's just gonna, it is a surf coaster model, but they do snowboarding, maybe skateboarding or like hoverboarding in space or something. But anyways, that's my review of Pipeline the Surf Coaster. Tristan, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think you'll head over to SeaWorld at any point to try to experience it yourself, or how you doing?
I don't know. You gonna take me?
Yeah, I might. Yeah,
Mm. You've been saying that for years.
true.
Never
I
hasn't
mean, my
happened yet.
most recent pass did expire, but
Oh, so wow! I ask you if you're gonna take me, and you throw an excuse right in my face.
here's the thing. I'm probably gonna renew. Probably gonna. I'm most likely gonna get it again in the fall once the crowds die out again. I was thinking about getting like the premium potentially, so I can have like more free guest passes, so I can take my girlfriend and you know do that type of thing.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Hey, you've been traveling to Minneapolis and Chicago, and now it's hot and crowded. Even though I just said that there hasn't been crowds there, but it's hot. We're local. We know better to go to the parks during the summer.
What's that have to do with Minneapolis?
Shut up, nerd. You've been traveling.
All right, all right. No, I've seen pictures, videos of this thing, and it looks awesome. Like it's actually one that I really do want to go and ride. When I'm going to do that, I have no idea, but you have the fun on the roller coasters, and I edit you talking about the roller coasters. That's kind of how this relationship works, Tommy. So I never get to have the fun.
You should have more fun then. I don't know.
I'll have you edit these episodes then, while I go
Touche.
ride the roller coasters. That's what I thought. So, Tommy, I'm so thrilled. You didn't tell me what it is, but you told me that you have a Karen, a Passholder Karen.
I do.
I can't wait to hear it. What is it?
The Karen is me.
What?
Yeah, I am here to complain about my day at Busch Gardens Tampa a few weeks ago.
Oh my God.
Now, look, I do love the roller coasters at that park. And it has some pretty solid theming, but their park operations suck. If I have been grouped, I should not be waiting 20 minutes from that point. Like there was multiple rides that had 5-minute dispatches at points. Like Do better. It's like sometimes things happen, but like come on, do better. Anyway, I really wanted to complain about their operations.
Yeah, I can't. So you got grouped and waited 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes to get on the ride from that
It
point?
was probably like closer to 15, but like,
15 minutes
15
still,
to 20
like
minutes and like,
I can't.
I'm in the station.
Yeah.
Like imagine being at Universal or Disney World and waiting 20 minutes in the station and not even for like a technical downtime. Just slow dispatching.
So just to translate this for some people who might not know all the jargon, when you say grouped, that basically means that they came up to you, they said, "Hey, how many?" You told them how many, and they put you in a row to get on the vehicle.
Yep. Yep.
And you were there for 15 minutes because they were dispatching
Yep.
vehicles every 5 minutes, which is insane.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Like, what were they doing? Were they just like taking their be real pictures or something? Why was it taking so long?
They're meandering about. I know one of the issues like at Iron Gwazi, for example, is that the way that the train is, you have to put on your seatbelt and not pull down on your lap bar so they can check your seatbelt. And then after they check the seatbelts, you can pull down on your lap bar. Now, I've seen it happen at Cedar Point, where after everyone's seatbelts are in, they will check your seatbelt and push your lap bar down itself and make sure it's locked. And like they'll go down the row, and the dispatches are a little bit quicker that way. But at Busch Gardens Tampa at Iron Gwazi, they will start from the back of the train, check all your seatbelts, and then once both people are at the front, then they'll say pull down your lap bar, and then they'll check the lap bars. So you're gonna get at least at the bare minimum a minute and a half, but it's usually 2 to 3 minutes. In one of these dispatches, after they checked the seatbelts and then made their way to the back of the train, there was a bigger guy who couldn't fit the lap bar all the way down. So it's like they already checked all the seatbelts and then they finally made their way to the back of the train to check a lap bar that couldn't lock. So it's like then there was more time wasted to get that guy out of the train. So like if they did it the other way, like they could have caught that earlier. Just little things like that. It's like you know, and that's not entirely the fault of the ride operators at that point, but like in other instances, it's like get it together, get it together, Busch Gardens.
It's such a huge
Like
part of
I've seen faster
attractions.
dispatch. Like I haven't experienced that slow dispatching at any of the Six Flags parks I've been to.
Oh
Like
wow.
yeah. And granted, Fiesta Texas and Great Adventure are very good. Like Great Adventure actually had really good operations. Over Georgia, I haven't been to since 2021. I only went there that year, and they were fine. But anywho, uh, I am the Karen this week. Busch Gardens, Tampa, do better.
Wow. Tommy, I feel like I've lost respect for you now that I see you as a Karen.
You know, it had to be said.
I think I might kick you off the podcast.
I don't blame you.
Well, goodness gracious me. Um, well, I do have a little bit of a tristry here. We got time for it. So
Slay.
this is just a classic. I've always done tristries about things that I thought were lesser known, maybe people that people haven't heard of or stuff like that. But I decided let's go pretty generic. Let's go pretty mainstream this week. So I'm doing my tristry on Pirates of the Caribbean. Now,
Ooh.
not just any iteration in particular, but specifically we're going to cover some information on the attraction, on the movies, and a Pirates of the Caribbean game that I used to be and am currently obsessed with.
All right.
So right off the bat, let's hop into it. Opening on March 18th of 1967, Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean attraction debuted 3 months after Walt Disney's death. While it's commonly known that this was the last attraction Walt personally oversaw, I want to share some lesser known details about the creation of this ride. As mentioned in episode 14 of our show, Claude Coates worked as the show designer for the attraction, designing the layout of the scenes and track, despite originally only being a background artist for animated films. And like I said, go back and check out episode 14 where we talk all about Claude Coates and everything he did. He was one of many examples of Walt picking someone who does one thing and having them do something completely different, and it worked wonderfully. Claude isn't the only
Daddy
unlikely
Walt.
candidate. Daddy Walt, Daddy Walt legs. Claude isn't the only unlikely candidate picked to help bring this attraction to life. Xavier X Atencio worked as an artist and animator for the studio beginning in 1938, which is the year Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out, but became an Imagineer in 1965, where he helped design the Primeval World segment of the Disneyland Railroad. You can hear more about the Primeval World and other elements of the 1964-65 New York World's Fair in episode 15 of our show. X would later take on another foreign challenge, writing the script and lyrics for Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me, as well as Grim Grinning Ghosts in the Haunted Mansion. On Pirates, you can hear Atencio's voice throughout the ride, including the skull before the waterfall and the drunken heckling pirate in the auction scene. Walt Disney World's Pirates of the Caribbean opened in 1973, followed by Tokyo's in 1983, Paris in 1992, and Shanghai's Pirates of the Caribbean Battle for the Sunken Treasure in 2016. So that's a little bit about, some background information about the ride that you might not have known. Specifically, I always like to include when Walt picks someone to do something they're not qualified at all to do, and they end up doing it amazingly. For instance, I talk about X Atencio. X Atencio was simply an artist and an animator for the studio for several decades. And then Walt was like, why don't you write songs? And he literally came out and wrote Yo-Ho, Yo-Ho, Pirate's Life for Me, and Grim Grinning Ghosts. How does that happen?
Imagine writing two of the most iconic songs of all time.
Yeah. And your profession has nothing to do with music.
Yeah.
But that's what, like,
Imagine.
Walt saw that in people. So yeah, there's some stuff about the ride there. We're going to move over to the Pirates of the Caribbean films now. Talk began about making a supernatural piracy movie in the early 90s after Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio finished work on Aladdin. They actually wrote the screenplay for Aladdin, although they weren't officially attached to the Pirates project until March of 2002, which was about a year and a half before the movie ended up coming out. With such a high budget and Johnny Depp putting on more of an adult performance than the studio would have liked, the project was almost canceled and seemed unlikely to be successful. Despite Depp's lack of big box office films at the time, an outdated and irrelevant film genre, and the fact that the movie was based off a theme park ride, the film made $654 million worldwide. And Disney quickly announced more Pirates movies. Pirates 2 and 3, Dead Man's Chest and At World's End, respectively, were filmed together and released in 2006 and 2007. Dead Man's Chest made $1.1 billion worldwide, and At World's End made $960 million. Although not considered to be as good as the first three films, On Stranger Tides and Dead Men Tell No Tales helped the franchise earn $4.5 billion in total, making it the 15th highest grossing movie series of all time. And I've always found that interesting because these are my favorite movies, the Pirates movies, specifically 1 through 3. Pirates 2 making 1.1 billion, I believe, and Pirates 3 making 960 million also is not surprising. But On Stranger Tides, I want to say made a little over $1 billion as well. And On Stranger Tides is my least favorite of the movies. Now, for those who don't know, On Stranger Tides is the one with mermaids and Blackbeard. And it is truly the weakest of all the movies, in my opinion. Yet it made way more money than any of the other ones. I actually think it made more than Dead Man's Chest. Anyway,
wow.
This is a franchise that made $4.5 billion in total, and no one thought this was going to be anything.
Wow.
Like I said, Johnny Depp at the time had only made, he made Edward Scissorhands. He'd made some smaller movies. He was in 21 Jump Street, the TV show, Sleepy Hollow, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Yeah. I think Donnie Brasco. None of these were big box office movies. He wasn't that type of actor yet, where he was making huge movies. And the studio wasn't pleased with how he was portraying Jack Sparrow either. Now, of course,
and then that turned into the most iconic character of all time.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, after Pirates 1 came out, Disney was like, all right, we're making more, don't worry. And then Pirates 2 and 3, this is another fact that I like to tell people. Pirates 2 and 3 were filmed as one movie. They were filmed all together in one time, because it is kind of one story. When you actually think about it, the first 3 Pirates movies are one story that's about Will Turner's dad. Will Turner and his dad, I should say. Jack Sparrow's not really the main character in terms of the plot.
Yeah. No, like I think like I heard some about that like Jack Sparrow was never intended to be the main character of the movies, but then like, he just became that iconic.
Yeah. Yeah. He's one of those,
Like
he's
who
just,
who who got which character got thrown into the rides? Jack Sparrow. None of the
hmm
other ones.
hmm So that's just some fun info about the movies there. And then I want to touch on this game real quick that was only around for a brief amount of time. It was Pirates of the Caribbean Online was a MMORPG game based on the film franchise that was released in October of 2007 and only lasted until September of 2013. So just about 6 years when Disney
Wow.
closed the game. Some fans of the game revived it as The Legend of Pirates Online, which is a free to play recreation of the game, still available today. Now, I played this game. I played it back when it was out, and I played this free to play version that some fans actually made. Um, and I think they got away with not being sued by Disney by making it free and
Oh
only
wow.
accepting donations if people wanted to donate because they're not accepting
Hmm.
money, like they're not making profit off of it. Um,
Interesting.
but it's exactly how the game was, and it's so much fun.
Wow.
But I remember seeing lots of
That's so
commercials
cool.
for it at the time, and I never.
Wow.
Uh, yeah. So anyway, that's a really fun Pirates game. If you want to look it up, The Legend of Pirates Online, a lot of fun. So there's some information about the Pirates of the Caribbean
Yeah.
franchise that you may not have known.
Yeah.
The sixth movie is in the works. That's all we really know. They've gone through so many different screenplays for it and scripts that no one really knows what's going on. There's lots of rumors about Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie's not attached to anything with the Pirates franchise. Johnny Depp isn't technically either, but Disney definitely wants him back because the public
Yeah.
wants him back. But he
Yeah.
doesn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole or 3,000 donkeys or whatever he said when he was in court. But anyway, so there's some trickery about Pirates of the Caribbean. Tommy, this was a great episode. Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah. This was a really fun episode. No, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say. I was gonna say Pirates, it was always one of my favorite rides growing up. I remember I never really got myself into the movies, so like I'm like I love the ride before the movies. Um, but the only other thing I could think of was I just remembered towards the end here. I think on the last episode we talked about Mind Blower at Fun Spot Kissimmee getting the RMC 208 retrack. Is that correct?
I don't know. I don't care.
Apparently, yeah, sure. Apparently it opened up and the transitions from the RMC tracks to the original track, because they didn't do the whole of the ride. Apparently, uh, they did not do a good job with it, and the transitions are very rough and even some gaps in the track. So they had to close it again. So, yeah, I was really looking forward to riding Mindblower retracked smoother, but guess that's gonna have to wait.
Sounds like Kissimmee. All right,
Sounds
Tommy,
like
talk us
Kissimmee.
out.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. This was a really fun episode. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, 5 stars, podcast things on Apple Pod things. Yeah. Yeah. Tristan.
Support our show for
Yeah.
as little as $3 a month. Click the link in the show notes. You can send us money. We appreciate it. The show is free for you. We do not make it for free. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.